Dave and I have other careers outside of D&J that we had before we got here. And so this has always just been a passion for us. Here at D&J, I want to make sure that people, when they learn how to fly, they can go enjoy themselves. You know?
My name is Joe Skirkis, and I am on a mission to find, seek out, and allow people to tell their stories that are making positive impacts within their community. Today, I'm in Apopka, Florida, at an award-winning flight school. See that behind me right here? That's a taxiway for a runway. It's some airplanes about to take off, and then we're gonna hop right into it to a conversation with the owner of the school, Justin. All right, so you are the J in D&J Aviation, where we are here today in Apopka at X-Ray 04 Airport. So kind of tell me a little bit about you and how we got to where we are.
D&J started with one airplane and started in Dave's kitchen. So Dave, my business partner, wanted to get his private pilot's license. And
Okay.
at the time, I was a CFI, and he knew that, so he wanted to train with me, and I told him that was fine. However, being a crotchety airline pilot that I am, I'm like, I'm not just going to go to any flight school or anything like that. You know, we want a good piece of equipment. Our schedules are just so busy anyways. I said we don't want to. We're going to need, if we're going to do this, we have to do it right. So I told him, I said, essentially a bet, not really a bet, but I said, listen, you buy an airplane, I'll teach you how to fly. And I've said that at least a dozen times throughout my career. Nobody ever buys a plane. Nobody ever does that, right? And like 3 months later, he bought an airplane, and we flew down to Lauderdale to pick it up. It was 4707 Lima, Cessna 152. Yes, okay. Him and I fit in a 152. And we did all his private pilot training in that airplane.
Oh, wow.
So that was the first airplane D&J formally kind of had before it was actually D&J, actually. So
Okay. So let's kind of back up and kind of figure out how we got here. Where in your life, was it as a kid you discovered aviation, kind of fell in love with it? What kind of sparked that bug for you to kind of bring us to where we are today?
It was just always a part of my life.
Okay.
So it wasn't, I don't know if there was anything that was ever a bug per se, right?
Okay.
So my father was an airline pilot
Okay.
and came from, times were different. You know, he had to be a glider pilot and an ag cap pilot, and he flew freight and all this. So I kind of grew up watching him, and it was cool. And we got to fly together. He had a 152 at the time, sold many, many years ago. But and I got to fly that a couple times with him. And so when I was a kid, it was just part of my life. And then when I went off to college, I was like, man, I never could envision myself sitting in an office or. Really, I couldn't find anything I enjoyed more than just flying. So I just started flying, and I've just been doing it ever since. Been doing it my whole life, basically.
Wow. I mean, you still have the cubicle. It's just you got a heck of a view.
Yeah. It's the best office in the world. That's exactly it. So, it's the best office in the world, and you get to travel. It's dynamic, and that's what's cool about it. Is there's on any given day, you don't know what kind of issues or problems are going to come up because you're dealing with so many different things that are out of your control, you know, from passengers to weather to students to whatever part of aviation you're in. So
Okay.
yeah, it's really cool.
So now let's kind of move a little bit forward. I mean, obviously, you're an aviation family. Some people are. Most that I've talked to aren't. Just kind of got that bug as a kid, like myself. I've always loved airplanes. I went to an air show as a child with my father, and that kind of sparked it for me. And then it was buying all like the model F-14s and
Yeah.
F-15s.
I
And
used to hang from the ceiling with tacks and fishing lines.
I actually have on my eyebrow right here, I don't know if you can see it anymore, there's a scar there, like a little dent. I would lay as a kid on the ground with, I mean, those heavy metal ones that they came out with. I'm flying an F-15 around and I dropped it out and it hit me right there. And I was probably 8 years old and the scar is still there today and I'm 39.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's one way or another, it made an imprint on my life. So it was just something I've always enjoyed. But moving forward, so I mean, I'm going to hit you also with a bunch of, I guess we can call them frequently asked questions about the industry. Because I mean, you've been here and you've done this. So let's kind of build from there. Is when exactly, I mean, we know how D&J started with you and your partner, but when exactly, like what year did that happen? What year did we decide, hey, we're going to go to a Popka, we're actually going to turn this into a business?
That would have been, yeah, you're making me think. So we got 4707 Lima. It would have been February of 2019.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Was when we started the business. Dave finished his private pilot's license shortly after that. And really what got the business started was just people, the demand in the industry for airplanes. And we had a really nice 152. And so we had people start asking around, hey, can I rent that? Can I buy block time in it? Can I, I want a time build? And we're like, oh yeah, we're kind of done with it. Because once he got done with his private, that airplane wasn't instrument certified. So that was what led us into the next thing, which was one thing after another, which was 1946 Hotel, which is actually still flying with us today.
Oh, wow.
So that was, we bought that airplane to do his instrument training in. And then it really kind of started to snowball after that. So
can't argue with that.
2019 was when it officially started, February of 19.
Okay. So, and I told you when we initially talked about this, like a lot of these videos that I'm shooting for this specific YouTube channel, it's about finding people, just your everyday person that's walking down the road that's making a positive impact on their community. And I don't think there's anybody that would argue that D&J is making not just a positive impact in the community, but in the industry as a whole. So how big is the operation here? I mean, like, I know you probably don't know offhand, but I mean, how many people like do you guys employ? I mean, what made you choose a Popka? Because I mean, obviously, just the business being here, the taxes and everything from employees and the business, that's all money that's going into the city of Apopka and all that. So I mean, what kind of made you choose this and kind of how big is your operation these days here in 2023, 4 years later?
It's a lot of questions.
We take them one at a time.
Yeah, to kind of start. So the business has grown, and we've really just taken what has come to us. And where our business, and I have to always give credit because we started this business and we had, Dave and I have other careers outside of D&J that we had before we got here. And so this has always just been a passion for us. And we inevitably attracted people with the same passion. People like yourself, people like Tim Fitzgerald, and people that have been around since the beginning. And those people have really carried us and helped us build. And so it just started building. We started adding airplanes and all that jazz. And then we're up to 10 aircraft now. So we've got 4 Warriors, 3 Archers, and 3 Seminoles now. So we've got 10 airplanes. We've got our facility. We just finished our 2,000 square foot remodel here. And so that's pretty much the operation. As far as employees, we're constantly growing. We just hired 2 new instructors, new line operations, and we're continuing to add people. I think we're 20-ish, give or take, employees now. 10-ish, give or take, full-time instructors. I want to say 11 with the addition of our newest instructor, Connor, who just came on board. So yeah, we're growing. To answer those questions, it's a great, but it's always been a community. And what's been one of the most fascinating things to me is people always ask me, how do you keep instruction? And we really have not ever had a hard time with that. We really have had a lot, as we've grown, just had a lot of been blessed with a lot of the right people coming through the doors. So, and then as far as I don't know what other questions you have.
No, that's kind of perfect. And that you're starting to kind of lead me into my next question is the kind of culture that you guys have here. Because I mean, let's be honest, and I said it before, and I'm going to say it many times, is Orlando's a lot like Phoenix. There's flight schools in every corner like a Starbucks, but yet anytime you look out there and people are asking for recommendations, you see D&J everywhere. And I know a lot of the people that even tagged you guys and recommend you guys aren't even students of this school. And they're out there kind of backing you guys, and just like that kind of culture you built here to where everybody's happy, everybody kind of seems to come to work. I mean, that's a tough thing to do, especially in the aviation industry with instructors, because I mean, everybody's just kind of trying to get to their 1500 and kind of move on. And you guys don't have that here. You guys have some, I mean, yes, you got people that move on, but you got people also that are kind of willing to stay and kind of do things on the side. But like, just the overall culture here is completely different than a lot of places.
Yeah.
By design, how do we achieve that? I mean, is it just kind of taking care of your employees, like, how do we get there?
Yeah, well, it's not a road easily traveled, right?
Right.
It is tough to maintain that culture, right? However, I also don't think it's as hard as sometimes we make it out to be. It is just being a part of the community. And sometimes I think that aviation businesses or aviation schools, we get so focused on the business aspect of it that we forget that aviation really is a community. It's a community just like anything else. If you look at any other thing that people do, from scuba diving to guys that love cars, or people that love skydiving, right? Those are communities, and they tend to be small communities. And there's businesses within those communities, but it's still a community. And we just do everything that we can to make sure we stay tapped into that community, that we stay tapped into those people. And we realize it's a community. That's why we work so hard. This year, for just the rest of this year alone, we have our D&J Aviation Invasion that's coming up. That'll be the first part of October. September 23rd, we just sent out the email yesterday. We're holding our AOPA is holding their Rusty Pilots Seminar here with us. We have D&J Aviation Day will come up November 4th. We throw, so those are all things that bring in people from the outside that continue to build that community of culture. And people realize, even if you don't fly with us, we're here to support the aviation community in of itself. Because not everybody can fly with us. People don't live close enough, or it doesn't work as well, or, like yourself, they've got different financial obligations and things they have to meet, and maybe we can't do that. But it's still part of the community. You're still out there flying. Your paths are going to cross again. And I think that's honestly, along with a lot of other things, treating people, but that's the foundation of how you build that culture, you build that community. Because at the end of the day, and I think you would agree with this, as pilots, we enjoy being around other pilots and learning from them and talking with them and chatting with them, grabbing a beer with them, whatever it is, so.
And then also, like you said, I think the perfect way to sum it up, like you said before we went on camera, is you guys are trying to keep the fun in aviation and in training. Trying to make sure that people are enjoying what they're doing. It's not just go out there, hit the curriculum, and go home.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Well, yeah, it's a business. So there's certain rules you have to have, right? I mean, there's no way. But it was, our conversation before we started the video. I here at D&J, I want to make sure that people, when they learn how to fly, they can go enjoy themselves. And I always talk about the new instructors that come in. We talk about instructor meetings, our new students. You're doing private pilot training, and you want to do your long cross country, and you want to go to Tampa International, down to Fort Lauderdale International, and back. Go for it. Why not? There's no restrictions on it. Right? You've got an instructor, go experience it. That's what I did. My first private pilot long cross country was Tampa International to Orlando International and back to Gainesville.
Oh, wow.
And Tampa was good. Orlando wasn't so happy I was there, but they got over it. So I fly in there every day now. So they obviously didn't ban me. But yeah, so many of those things. And that's what I really don't want to lose lose here. We should be able to go enjoy ourselves as pilots. That's like the invasion. You know, we go have breakfast, everybody flies in. So
Yeah, you guys take the whole company pretty much, it seems, when I see
take
those
every
videos out
airplane.
there.
Nope.
That's really cool. So you kind of touched on it, like kind of learning the process and stuff like that. And I know that's a big question that's out there. If I wanted to get started and I have no hours, I've never stepped foot in a little plane before, obviously call you, and I'll make sure that your information's in the description below in this video so they can reach out to you. But what does that process look like? And I know for me with real estate, I always joke and I tell people, if you're gonna move, you're gonna buy or sell, there's 10 things you need to do. Number one is call me and I'll do the other 9. Is it the same thing for D&J? Is like step number one is call D&J and you guys are gonna help with the rest? And what does that process look like if I wanted to become a student pilot to kind of learn this craft?
It does. I wouldn't say it's call me and I can take care of the rest. It's a little, you know, and I only say that because I would never go out and say that we're the perfect fit for everybody. Right. And because there's certain things, you know, if you live across town in Melbourne, yeah, I'd love for you to come fly. But the fact of the matter is, if you're making that drive every day, this is not going to be as fun for you. Right. And so the first thing I tell people is do your research. The other thing is do your due diligence and make sure that you know what you're signing up for before you sign up. And I don't, how do I say it? You know, there's just a lot out there. Right. And there are, at the end of the day, it's a business. And there's good ones and there's bad ones.
Just like any industry.
I like to think that we're good. Yeah, just like any industry. But make sure you know what you're signing up for before you sign up. Make sure you know what you're going to get and what the expectations are before you do that, because there's a lot of programs out there now. I mean, the flight training industry is booming. There's a huge demand. And so it is important that you get in the right program for you and the right people. That's the other thing. Right. And that's kind of the second half of that is the people around you. You know, some of these programs are, they're more cut and dry. They're more, you know, check the box 1, 2, 3, 4. And some people that's good. You know, you show up, it's right. And then, but then a lot of people will want the community aspect. And that's what we try to provide here. Anybody that comes in and thinks that we're going to be a formal academy, and that's what they want is a formal academy. They want to wear the uniform. They want to show that's not us, right? We're going to be much more casual. So there's a variety out there. Find the one that fits you.
Definitely. Now, I know another big one I keep seeing everywhere. I mean, obviously, whether we agree with it or we don't is neither here nor there about this pilot shortage that's going on. We're working on that. There's students coming for the people that might be concerned about this pilot shortage and what's going on. Is there an age that it's too late to get into this industry? I'm not talking even just AV,
like professional pilot.
To even right, we can call pro pilots for airlines. I know right now it's 65. They're talking about moving that to 67 to get out. But I mean, like, I'm 39 years old. Am I too old to get into this industry?
No, not at all.
What if I'm 45, 50?
No, I would say it's less a matter of age and more a matter of determination and determination and resources. Because we're not gonna sit here and blow smoke. And this is an expensive career to get into, right? There's training that has to be done. It's costly. But if you're, you know, even 55 years old and you've had a career, so you've got a little something saved up and you can get through, you can dedicate your time. I mean, you can start at 55 and be at an airline by 58, which would still give you 7 years to fly at that airline, or potentially 10 with the new age thing coming. So you figure you can still have potentially a 7 to 9 year career at 58. You know, it's not perfect, but even 55, there's still time in there. Definitely in your 40s, no question. I mean, 2 or 3 years, and then if you're an airline by the time you're 50, you've got at least 15 years left, which means you'll upgrade, you'll make captain, you'll get to do all the things you want to do. So it's still, I mean, you think about it, Think about somebody that starts, easy math, at a fire department as a firefighter at 20 years old.
Right.
Most of them retire at 35 to 40.
Right.
Right?
Looking
15 to
for that
20
second-
years is pretty much considered kind of a career, right?
Yeah.
And so if you got 15 years left, that's essentially a second career.
Now, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it to you anyway. For people that are concerned, maybe they're 50 years old and they're watching this and they're like, well, that doesn't give me a lot of time. Are there other options to make a living in this industry besides going to the airlines, flying for American, United, JetBlue, Frontier, stuff like that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can do the corporate, which I did. I did corporate for about 6 years. And you can go the corporate route, and that can be really good. The corporate route has got a lot of different options in it. You can go to the bigger players like NetJets or FlexJet or Flight Options. Some of those, I'm dating myself, don't even exist anymore. But Wheels Up, right, would be one that does still exist. Well, they just got bought by Delta, but you can go to the big ones or you can go small. I know a lot of guys that just fly part-time. They go out, they build their time, they find a gig flying a King Air or something like that locally for a local owner. They fly 5-6 days a month. They're doing it more just because they enjoy it, supplemental income, and they do it that way. So there's all kinds of options because people are always looking for pilots. They're always looking, and not every owner out there needs somebody on a full salary 20 days a month. There's a lot of owners. You can do contract work, a lot of contract work as well.
And then kind of last question on this subject is, no matter your age, what if you don't want to do that? You want to be just a weekend warrior, fly your family around and stuff like that. Do you guys teach people that can do that here?
Oh, absolutely. That's just getting your private pilot's license and then just staying current. And the nice thing about it is I always tell people, you get the bug to get it, you get your private pilot's license. Some people worry, I don't know, I've got this on the way or a career change. I don't know if I'll be able to use it. Doesn't matter. But the great thing about a private pilot's license is once you have it, it's yours. Never goes away. You may lose currency, but you can always come back and get current. So I always look at it as an investment in yourself as well. And even if you just want to be a hobbyist, you can be in and out of the hobby once you have the license because it's always yours.
Okay. So last thing I want to touch on here is probably the most prideful to you guys being here just 4 years in business.
Yeah.
We got some banners out here. Tell me about those banners.
Yeah. So we, through our community, through the people that fly with us, we were able to get, we had 2 of our instructors last year and this year, back-to-back years, we've had an instructor win Most Distinguished Flight Instructor Award through AOPA, which is pretty much the top honor for a flight instructor that you can get. Kind of goes right there with, you'll hear Gold Seal instructors. That's another kind of big milestone. So that Distinguished Flight Instructor Award, a lot of times you'll see that synonymous with like your Gold Seal instructors. So that's that. So we had instructors win that back-to-back years.
Wow.
Then we also last year won the Southeastern Division Most Distinguished Flight School for the Southern Southeast Division for AOPA.
So we're not talking just in Orlando. We're talking Southeast. We're talking like Florida, multiple states possibly.
Yeah. So it's Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama. I'm not sure all this, but that Southeast region right there. So they break it up into regions. And then you have a national. We're hoping to go for the national next year. So they take the top in each region and then they go for national. And there's a lot of stuff out there and there's a lot of great awards out there, but the AOPA awards for the instructors and the schools is a big deal because AOPA really does a good job of vetting those awards. So the only way to win is your students, the instructor students or the schools, have to go on to AOPA. They have to log in, put their name on it, fill out the entire thing, and then submit it. Mm-hmm. Then when AOPA gets all the submissions, they actually go through and quality control them.
Oh, wow.
And they make sure there's somebody not putting in repeated submissions and there's not somebody, so they actually vet the process very well.
Wow.
from what I understand. So it's become one of those that actually has some meaning behind it, and that's why we're so proud of it, because it's not something that it's not just checking a box.
Right. And again, I mean, like you said you have 10, 11 instructors here. There's flight schools all over the place in the region. So, I mean, obviously, those are very prestigious awards. So congratulations to you and to everybody here for those awards. So last one we'll kind of touch on here before I let you go, because I know you're a very busy man. What does the future hold for D&J? What does it look like maybe the next 5 years or so? That you're willing to tell us that's kind of public information, that we're not breaking any news here, because I don't want you to spill the beans before anything needs to be put out there.
Yeah, I mean, our big plans are really, and this is going to be boring, but it's just to continue to do what we do. What I'm fighting for right now is we're growing, and we see a big demand for our product and what we do here, and being a part of the D&J community or team. And so we're wanting to grow that. We will continue to grow that. Where it takes us, I don't know 100%. But the biggest thing is we want to continue, even if we stay the same size we are now, the goal is to stay true to who we are, stay a community, and so we're being very careful with how we grow, what we do. It's like this year, rather than just adding airplanes to try to spin props and make money, we have actually tried to revitalize our fleet. So we've updated some of our aircraft that were good airplanes, but we realized we want to move into the modern area. So we've added newer aircraft, swapping them out for the older ones. And so continuing to do things like that to make sure our product is above and beyond. We'll continue to do that. We've got almost half of our fleet now is all GTN products. So GTN, Garmin GTN 650, 750s, which is the latest and greatest. We've got 550 displays, PFDs, MFDs going into our airplanes. So you'll see that stuff continue. As far as growth, I don't know. But I'm very, the only thing I can tell you is whatever comes, we'll make sure it comes with the same distinction of being who we are.
Okay. So. And then, I know I said probably already last one, but I just thought of another one. So I know you guys do, I think it's like a 2-week instrument course if you wanted to accelerate your 5-day multi-engine and stuff. So if people wanted to learn more about those courses and stuff, what's the best way to get in contact with D&J?
So the best way is our website. It has most everything built out, and we offer all your traditional private pilot instrument and all that. Then we do have some accelerated courses. We've got an accelerated private pilot course, instrument course, which is tailored to the person themselves. So a lot of people ask, well, how long is it? Well, it can be anywhere from 14 days all the way up to a month. It's really, we can tailor those to whatever we need, but it's always full time. It just depends. And then we do have our standard 5-day multi-engine program, which has been amazing. And we built that program from the ground up. It's extremely successful. We've got 3 multis now. And it's even trademarked and all that good stuff. So that's good. You can get all that information on our website. Okay. www.dandjaviation.com. D&Javiation.com. That'll have all there, or give us a call anytime.
All right. So. And like I said earlier in the video, I'm going to put all that information in the description below this video. And I think that's enough, sir. We'll let you get back to what you're doing, and I thank you for your time.
Joe, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I love what you're doing with this. I mean, this is what it's all about, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you on some of our adventures in our D&J Aviation Day and Invasion and all that good jazz. So,
all right. Thank you so much, sir.
Yep, absolutely.